Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Today, we bring you one of the most powerful, inspiring, and emotional stories in Islamic history. The story of a woman chosen by Allah Himself, the beloved wife of our Prophet Muhammad, and the mother of the believers, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. Her life was filled with knowledge, courage, and devotion. But it was also filled with trials, accusations, jealousy, political conflict, and pain. She was deeply loved by the Prophet, yet she was also slandered by hypocrites. She was respected as a teacher of Islam, yet attacked by enemies of Allah. Today, many questions are asked. Why did she marry at a young age? Why did she face opposition from some groups, especially certain Shia sects? What really happened in the incident of Al-Ifk, the false accusation? And what about the Battle of Jamal? Did she fight against Ali RA? In this video, inshallah, we will go step by step. We will respond to accusations, present historical truths, and most importantly, we will honor one of the greatest women in our Ummah. But before we continue, dear brothers and sisters, if you want to support the spread of authentic Islamic history and knowledge, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. That way, you'll never miss our upcoming episodes, Insha'Allah. Now let us begin with the story of our beloved mother Aisha RA. Most historians agree that Aisha RA was born in Makkah around the year 613, just a few years after the Prophet received revelation. She grew up in the home of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq RA, the closest companion of the Prophet, the first man to embrace Islam, and later the first caliph of the Muslims. Imagine this environment, a home filled with Quran, with constant remembrance of Allah, with conversations about revelation, about the struggles of the early Muslims. A home where courage, faith, and sacrifice were the daily lessons. This was the atmosphere in which Aisha RA grew up. Her mother, Ruman RA, was also a pious and patient woman who raised her daughter with strong Islamic values. From a very young age, Aisha was sharp, intelligent, and eloquent. She had an incredible memory, a strong curiosity, and a deep love for learning. Unlike most girls of her time, she was not only being prepared for household life, but also exposed to the discussions of revelation, rulings, and the sacrifices of Islam. This was no coincidence. Allah was preparing her for something much greater, to become a wife of the Prophet and a guardian of knowledge for the entire Ummah. After the passing of Khadija RA, the Prophet spent a period of sadness and loneliness. Then came a dream shown by Jibril. In the dream, the angel presented to him the image of Aisha RA and told him, "O Messenger of Allah, this is your wife in this world and in the hereafter." Not long after, one of the companion's wives, Khawla bint Hakim RA, suggested to the Prophet that he should remarry. She mentioned two names, Sauda bint Zam'a RA, a mature woman of experience, and Aisha Bint Abu Bakr RA, the young daughter of his closest companion. The Prophet remembered his dream, and the command of Allah was clear. He agreed to the proposal. When Abu Bakr RA heard that the Messenger of Allah wanted to marry his daughter, his heart was filled with immense joy. Imagine to become the father-in-law of the Prophet of Allah, to tie the family bond with the Messenger of Allah himself. This was not just an honor for Abu Bakr, this was an honor for all of Islam. The marriage contract was agreed upon in Makkah, but the actual wedding took place later in Medina. After the Hijrah, when the Muslims migrated, life was very difficult. There were battles, hunger, and constant struggles. Yet in the middle of these hardships, the wedding of Aisha RA with the Prophet finally took place. Her dowry was simple, 500 dirhams provided by her father. The Prophet, who could have demanded anything in this world, chose simplicity. This shows us an eternal lesson. Marriages in Islam are not about wealth and luxury, but about barakah and righteousness. Dear brothers and sisters, if you are still with us until this point, make sure to like this video so more people can hear this beautiful story of our mother Aisha RA. When the Prophet built his mosque in Medina, he also built small rooms around it for his wives. Aisha RA moved into one of these rooms, starting her life as the mother of the believers. Dear brothers and sisters, after Aisha RA entered the blessed household of the Prophet Muhammad, her life became a journey of love, faith, learning, and trials. She was not just another wife. She was the most beloved to him after Khadija RA. The Sahaba themselves used to notice it. Once Amr ibn al-As RA asked the Prophet, "O Messenger of Allah, who is the most beloved person to you?" Without hesitation, the Prophet replied, "Aisha." Amr ibn al-As then asked, "And among the men?" The Prophet answered, "Her father." Subhanallah. This shows us the deep love and bond the Prophet had with Aisha RA. But brothers and sisters, don't imagine their home like a palace. The room of Aisha RA was so small that when the Prophet prayed at night, she would be lying down, and when he made sujood, his forehead would touch her legs. So she had to move them slightly to give him space. Their food was simple, sometimes only dates and water, sometimes bread with a little oil. Days would pass with no fire lit in the house, meaning no cooked food. Yet their home was filled with love, mercy, and remembrance of Allah. This teaches us that happiness in marriage doesn't come from wealth, but from faith and love for Allah. The Prophet was not only a husband, he was also a friend, a companion, and a gentle soul. He would race with Aisha RA. In one hadith, Aisha said, "I raced with the Prophet and I won. Later, when I had gained some weight, we raced again, and this time he won. Then he smiled and said, 'This one is for that one.'" Allahu Akbar. Look at the playfulness of our Prophet with his wife. He used to drink from the same spot of the cup where Aisha had placed her lips. He would rest his head on her lap while she recited Quran. He would call her with beautiful nicknames like Humaira, the rosy-cheeked one. Dear viewers, if you're enjoying this reminder of the beautiful sunnah of marriage, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video, so more Muslims can learn the true love story of the Prophet and Aisha RA. Of course, brothers and sisters, as in any household with multiple wives, there was natural jealousy. Aisha RA was young, beautiful, intelligent, and deeply loved by the Prophet. The other wives sometimes felt this. Once, the Prophet was sitting with Aisha when one of his other wives sent food in a dish. Out of jealousy, Aisha struck the dish, and it fell and broke. The Prophet simply smiled, gathered the pieces, and said, "Your mother has been overcome with jealousy." Then he replaced the broken dish with one from Aisha's home. Look at his wisdom and patience. He didn't get angry, he didn't scold. Instead, he turned the situation into a gentle lesson. This shows us how the Prophet understood emotions and handled them with love and calmness. Aisha RA used to say, "The Prophet would remember me in every prayer." When he became ill before his death, he chose to stay in Aisha's room. His last days, his last breaths, and even his last moment were in her lap. His blessed head rested on her chest when he departed from this world. Can you imagine the honor? To be the one chosen by Allah to be with his messenger in his final moment of dunya. Dear brothers and sisters, after the passing of the Prophet Muhammad, Aisha RA stepped into one of the most important roles in Islamic history. She was not just a wife of the Prophet, she became a teacher, a scholar, and a source of guidance for the entire Ummah. Aisha RA was blessed with an extraordinary memory and sharp intelligence. She grew up in the house of Abu Bakr RA, where Quran and Revelation were always discussed, and she spent years living with the Prophet, watching him, listening to him, and learning directly from him. She narrated more than 2,200 ahadith of the Prophet. Many of the most personal, intimate, and private details of the Prophet's life came only through her narration. Without Aisha RA, we would never have known about the Prophet's habits at home, his worship at night, his gentleness with his family, and his private sunnah. Imam Zuhri, one of the greatest scholars of the Tabi'in, said, If the knowledge of Aisha were collected and compared to the knowledge of all other wives of the Prophet and all other women, her knowledge would be greater. Allahu Akbar. After the Prophet passed away, people from all over Medina and beyond would come to Aisha's house to ask her questions. Scholars, judges, leaders, all would sit before her to learn. Urwa ibn Zubair, RA, her nephew, said, "I have not seen anyone with more knowledge of Quran, Hadith, fiqh, poetry, medicine, history, or lineage than Aisha. She was not only a narrator but also a faqih, jurist. She corrected mistakes of other companions when they misunderstood the rulings. If a Sahabi made an error in explaining a hadith, Aisha RA would gently correct them with evidence. This shows her courage and confidence in standing for truth. Aisha RA also taught with incredible wisdom. Once a man asked her, "Why do women have to make up their fasts when they miss them in Ramadan, but they don't make up the prayers they miss during menstruation?" Instead of giving a long lecture, she simply said, "This was the command during the time of the Prophet, and we followed it." Her answer was short, clear, and filled with wisdom. She did not complicate religion. Brothers and sisters, Aisha RA also played a huge role in representing women in Islam. Because of her, women felt more comfortable asking personal questions about family, intimacy, and purification. The Prophet himself said, "Take half your religion from this Humaira, Aisha." This means that her knowledge was a pillar for half the Ummah. So next time someone tells you that Islam suppresses women, remind them of Aisha RA, the greatest female scholar of this Ummah, whose knowledge is still guiding us 1400 years later. Dear viewers, if you're benefiting from this story, then please pause for a moment and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll help spread authentic Islamic knowledge to millions. Inshallah, dear brothers and sisters, the life of our beloved mother Aisha, radiallahu anha, is a sea of wisdom, love, sacrifice, and courage. From her early life in Makkah to her blessed marriage with the Prophet, and her role as a scholar and teacher, her story continues to inspire Muslims across the world. And remember, these are not just stories of the past. These are lessons for our present and future. To learn from her patience, her knowledge, her devotion to the Prophet, and her service to Islam. May Allah allow us to follow in the footsteps of our mother Aisha RA, to seek knowledge, to live with taqwa, and to remain close to the sunnah of our beloved Prophet. Ameen. If you benefited from this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, so more brothers and sisters can learn the true beauty of Islam. Until next time, dear viewers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. See you in the next video, inshallah.